Imagine looking into the sky and seeing a flying ship the size of a small neighborhood. In the 1930s, the LZ-129 Hindenburg glided over city skylines, a silent silver giant casting its shadow over the harbors below. This diagram shows just how massive this airship was. Measuring 804 feet from nose to tail, the Hindenburg was almost exactly the length of the Titanic and taller than many modern skyscrapers. Inside, passengers experienced a level of comfort previously unknown in aviation. They ate in formal dining rooms, listened to a baby grand piano in the lounge, and looked out through enormous observation windows. It was a high-end hotel suspended in the clouds. The Hindenburg represented the peak of German engineering. For those watching it cross the Atlantic, this giant, rigid airship was the undisputed future of global travel. But keeping a structure of this immense size afloat required hundreds of thousands of cubic meters of lifting gas. And the gas filling the massive fabric cells of the Hindenburg was hydrogen. This diagram shows the sharp contrast between the two available options. The engineers originally intended to use helium, which is completely inert and will not burn. Instead, they relied on hydrogen, an incredibly light element that reacts violently when exposed to oxygen. The builders didn't choose hydrogen out of ignorance. The United States controlled the global supply of helium and, due to political tensions in the 1930s, denied access to Germany. The engineers had to adapt their design for the gas they could actually acquire. That single political restriction forced a chemical compromise. Beneath the elegant dining rooms and the piano lounge, the sky's most luxurious vessel was floating on an invisible bomb. For over a year, that compromise held. On May 3, 1937, the Hindenburg departed Frankfurt for a routine 3-day transatlantic flight. It had already completed dozens of similar journeys without a single issue. After bad weather delayed the arrival, the airship finally began its landing procedures at Naval Air Station Lakehurst in New Jersey. Dozens of reporters, photographers, and ground crew members gathered below, waiting to document the arrival. As the mooring lines dropped, everything changed. Without warning, a tiny flame appeared near the tail section of the airship. Thousands of miles of safe ocean crossing meant nothing in that moment. The volatile chemistry inside the hull needed only a single spark to initiate a devastating chain reaction. The fire tore through the upper structure almost instantaneously. Millions of cubic feet of hydrogen ignited, transforming the airship into a massive fireball. The immense heat melted the internal framework, and the tail topped heavily toward the ground. From the moment the first flame appeared to the second the ruined hull hit the dirt, less than 40 seconds had passed. Radio announcer Herbert Morrison was recording the landing. Watching the passengers trapped inside the burning wreckage, his voice broke as he broadcast the sheer shock of the moment with the unforgettable words, "Oh, the humanity." There was no time to organize an evacuation or deploy emergency measures. The chemical properties of burning hydrogen dictated exactly how fast the ship died. 35 people on board and 1 ground crew member lost their lives. Given the scale of the destruction visible in this skeletal wreckage, it is incredible that 62 people survived. They lived because the ship was already only feet from the ground when it ignited. Investigators spent years sifting through the debris, trying to understand the cause. Public rumors immediately suggested foreign sabotage or a direct lightning strike, desperately searching for an external culprit to blame. This diagram illustrates the most widely accepted scientific explanation. As the ship maneuvered, static electricity built up on the outer skin. An unseen hydrogen leak near the rear vented, and a single static spark arcing across the gap ignited the gas stream. Physics and chemistry operated exactly as expected. The engineers had compromised their design, and the elements finally aligned to exploit that specific vulnerability. Because the landing was highly anticipated, the airfield was packed with newsreel cameras and photographers. Within days, audiences sitting in movie theaters across the globe were watching the destruction play out in vivid detail. Seeing the largest flying machine ever built burn to ash in under a minute destroyed the concept of the passenger airship. Public trust evaporated overnight. Airlines and governments abandoned rigid airships and shifted their investments towards fixed-wing, propeller-driven aircraft. Airplanes were becoming faster and more reliable, and they did not require explosive lifting gases to stay in the sky. 40 seconds of documented tragedy altered the path of global transportation. It effectively ended the commercial airship industry. The Hindenburg stands as a permanent ending for an entire era of flight. It demonstrates that it was built to be the glamorous future of flight. Instead, it became a permanent warning to generations of engineers about the dangers of compromising safety for operational convenience. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more amazing stories.